Ok. Bonjour à toutes et à tous. Merci de nous regarder en direct sur EBS. Nous sommes le mardi 28 avril. Nous avons comme toujours quelques annonces à vous faire. Je commence d'abord par la réunion du collège et son ordre du jour demain. Le collège tiendra demain 3 débats d'orientation. Le premier sur la problématique du tourisme et de l'impact de la crise du coronavirus sur ce secteur, alors que l'été approche. Le deuxième sur notre proposition à venir pour un plan de relance et bien sûr au cœur de celui-ci le prochain budget pluriannuel de l'Union européenne. Et enfin un troisième débat sur la contribution de la Commission à la vidéoconférence du 6 mai, réunissant des dirigeants de l'UE et leurs homologues des Balkans occidentaux sur le soutien de l'UE à la région dans le contexte actuel de la crise et sur la relance après la pandémie. Et nous vous débrieferons comme d'habitude demain à l'issue de la réunion du collège. J'appelle maintenant Sonia pour un compte-rendu de la vidéoconférence des ministres européens en charge du tourisme.
Yesterday, the EU ministers of tourism gathered via video conference in order to discuss the impact of the coronavirus crisis on the tourism sector. The Commission was represented by the Commissioner for Internal Market, Thierry Breton. EU ministers exchanged best practices on mitigating measures and possible recovery strategy for the tourism sector, especially in view of the fact that this sector is one of the most damaged by the crisis. The impact of the crisis on the whole tourism ecosystem, such as hotels, restaurants, tour operators, travel agencies, airlines, and other modes of transport is devastating, and small businesses are those to suffer most. Commissioner Breton presented the measures which the Commission has already adopted and announced that the Commission is working for a common EU response for the recovery of the tourist sector in view of the upcoming summer season. He also stressed that the digital and green transformation should be in the heart of the recovery strategy in order to ensure the long-term resilience and competitiveness of the tourism sector. EU ministers expressed broad support and for enhanced cooperation at EU level and asked the Commission to work as a matter of priority towards a common EU approach on tourism that provides temporary liquidity and flexibility and maintains a fair balance of interests of both consumers and tour operators. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia. With this, I think we have come to the end of our announcements for today, so we are ready for your questions, and I see that Athanasios has a question. Athanasios, you have the floor.
Bonjour, Eric. Thanks for this. I hear that you're preparing, as we discussed yesterday, to return to somewhat normal operations, let's say in the coming month. And apparently some of your employees will have to go back to the office. Now, the rumor in the Commission is that you're going to provide them with one face mask per person. Some say that's not enough. So I would like to ask you, do you have let's say, a scientific strategy on how many masks and other protective equipment items you're going to provide to the employees returning to the offices? Are you going to keep the A and B team systems, or are you adding a third team in the mix? How is it going to work out for all those who will be back in the office in the next month? Thanks.
As I think I said yesterday, Athanasios, we are following very closely, obviously, the developments in Belgium in particular, where we have most of our staff, and indeed we are working on the plans to ensure that once the situation starts moving back to normal in Belgium, we will be able to readapt our own operations. As far as I'm aware, we have not yet finalized any plans. Obviously, I'm not going to comment on rumors that you may have heard. But as far as I'm aware, we have not yet finalized those plans and made them public. I will just check with Balázs if he has anything to add on this question.
Indeed. Hi, Eric. No, I fully agree with you. Of course, there's a lot of meetings at this point in time. We have a lot of exchanges ongoing. We haven't finalized anything, but more updates will come in due course.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, let's wait then. Thanks.
Absolutely. Actually, we're all waiting on this subject, to be clear. All right. I now have a question from Anna Pandensky.
Bonjour tout le monde. J'ai la question concernant Sahel. Lorsque aujourd'hui, il y a plusieurs conférences de presse concernant Sahel au Conseil, c'est la région stratégique pour l'Union européenne et j'ai deux questions à poser. Est-ce que la Commission européenne considère que la décision du président Déby de retirer ses troupes de l'opération conjointe et rester de protéger sa population et conduire l'opération des combats seulement sur territoire du Tchad et la fin d'opérations, disons, des projets Sahel 5, parce que maintenant c'est Sahel 4. Donc c'est la première question. Et deuxième question liée, combien de fonds l'Union européenne a investi dans Sahel pendant 6 ans? Parce que j'ai trouvé le chiffre des 8 milliards. Est-ce que c'est vrai? C'est pas vrai? Est-ce que vous pouvez communiquer aussi les chiffres, les fonds qui sont, oui, c'est allocation au Sahel. Voilà, c'est ça.
Merci Anna. Je passe la parole à Virginie. Un petit instant, Virginie. Voilà, tu as la parole.
Oui. Oui, bonjour. Donc effectivement, cet après-midi, à partir de 14h30, va se tenir une visioconférence au Conseil, donc à l'invitation du président Charles Michel, mais à laquelle participera également la présidente von der Leyen, ainsi que le haut représentant et vice-président Joseph Borrell. Il y aura donc la réunion, la VTC réunit les présidents du G5 Sahel, donc les présidents du Burkina Faso, du Mali, du Niger, du Tchad, ainsi que les représentants de l'Union africaine et la secrétaire générale des Nations Unies adjointe également sera aussi là. J'ai oublié de mentionner, je pense, le président en exercice, oui, le président de la Mauritanie, qui est aussi le président en exercice du G5 Sahel. À la suite de cette vidéoconférence, le Conseil a annoncé juste ce matin que se tiendrait une conférence de presse. Ce sera aussi l'occasion, je pense, de pouvoir adresser des questions. Alors, sur la première question, sur la question des troupes, il faudra que je revienne en bilatéral si cette question n'est pas adressée cet après-midi à la conférence de presse spécifiquement dédiée au G5 Sahel. Et sur la question des fonds, c'est une question qui est plus pour ma collègue Anna. Pour autant, il est vrai que l'investissement dans la région est massif. L'investissement de l'Union européenne depuis de nombreuses années est extrêmement important. Je laisserai Anna revenir sur la question des fonds qui ont été apportés, mais au-delà du soutien financier, à la fois en termes de développement et à la force conjointe que l'Union européenne apporte, nous avons aussi 3 missions de la politique de sécurité et de défense commune, PSDC, 2 civile, militaire.
Virginie, je crains que la connexion ait été interrompue là pendant 30 secondes. Donc si tu pouvais reprendre un petit peu en arrière.
Ce que je disais donc sur l'aide de l'Union européenne, l'investissement qui est fait plutôt dans la sécurité du Sahel, qui nous concerne aussi, qui a un fort impact pour notre sécurité. Nous avons évidemment une aide financière et pour cela, c'est ma collègue Anna qui pourra donner plus d'informations. Cette aide financière, elle va pour le développement, mais aussi pour la force conjointe, la force du G5 Sahel conjointe. Et au-delà de ça, je souhaiterais aussi rappeler que nous avons 3 missions de la politique de sécurité et de défense commune dans la région. 2 missions civiles, EUCAP Sahel Niger et EUCAP Sahel Mali, et une mission militaire, EUTM Mali, une mission de formation, dont nous sommes en train et nous avons progressivement élargi, disons, le mandat pour que cette mission militaire puisse apporter des formations et du conseil à la force conjointe, ainsi qu'à l'ensemble des 5 pays de la région. Voilà ce que je peux dire à ce stade.
D'accord. Anna, est-ce que tu peux fournir des éléments complémentaires sur les montants ?
Oui, salut. Donc, moi, en fait, le dernier chiffre que j'ai, mais j'aimerais revérifier si tu veux bien après, c'est en fait que l'Union européenne et les États membres ont mobilisé 8 milliards d'euros, ou vont mobiliser 8 milliards d'euros entre la période 2014 et 2020. Mais comme je dis, si tu veux, je peux revenir vers toi après, mais ça, c'est la dernière chiffre que moi j'ai sur moi. Donc, c'est clair qu'on fait un investissement massif sur le Sahel. C'est une région absolument prioritaire pour l'Union européenne. Et comme Virginie l'a expliqué très bien, nos actions de soutien au Sahel, compris à la fois politique, dans le soutien politique, mais aussi, bien sûr, sur les domaines de la coopération au développement, est très importante aussi dans le plan de la sécurité avec nos importantes missions sur place là.
Ok, merci. Restons sur les questions relations extérieures, si vous le voulez bien. Donc, je voudrais que vous ne gardiez la main levée que si vous avez une question dans ce domaine. So, please keep your hand raised only if you have a question in this area. Tanya, I see you have your hand raised. Go ahead.
Vous m'entendez?
On t'entend, oui.
Oui, c'est une question pour Anna, je pense. J'ai pas entendu, il y a eu un problème technique au début de la réunion, donc je n'ai pas entendu ton annonce sur les Balkans, Eric. Je suis désolée. Mais ma question porte sur l'annonce qui a été faite par Al Jazeera Balkans d'une vidéoconférence entre le commissaire Varailly et les ministres des Affaires extérieures de la région le 30 avril. Et j'aurais voulu savoir si Anna pouvait confirmer quel serait le contenu des discussions.
Je suis très désolée, Tania, mais comme j'ai eu déjà l'occasion de te dire tout à l'heure, j'ai pas malheureusement aucune confirmation là-dessus toujours. Bien sûr que tu peux penser qu'il y aura de contacts entre l'Union européenne et les pays partenaires, notre partenaire du Balkan, bien sûr, aussi avec la présidence et d'autres pour préparer la vidéoconférence entre les deux côtés. Donc, mais j'ai vraiment, pour ta question spécifique, j'ai pas de confirmation là-dessus. Je devrais revenir vers toi si on a plus et si ça confirme un peu plus tard.
Voilà, et en ce qui concerne l'annonce que j'avais faite en début de ce rendez-vous de midi, c'était simplement pour annoncer qu'il y aura demain à l'ordre du jour du collège un débat concernant la contribution de la Commission à la vidéoconférence du 6 mai réunissant les dirigeants de l'Union européenne et leurs homologues des Balkans occidentaux. Voilà. Y a-t-il d'autres questions relations extérieures? Other questions on external relations? I see a question. Tanya, you have raised your hand again. Tu as levé ta main de nouveau? Non. OK, Nawab.
Yes, I have a question actually on the situation in Libya, where according to media reports, fighting has intensified between the two sides, between General Haftar and the National Government of National Accord. What is your comment about it?
So our comment on the fighting in Libya. I call Peter.
Thank you. And I heard also the latest actions by Khalifa Haftar, if I understood correctly, but the connection was breaking up a little bit. Indeed, for quite some time already, we are following the situation in Libya with huge concern, and we keep calling on all the actors to stop fighting and engage in a political process. On this latest, specifically the declaration by Khalifa Haftar, I have to say that any attempt to push forward unilateral solutions, even more so by force, will never provide a sustainable solution for the country. And such attempts cannot be accepted. The Libyan political agreement from December 2015, also known as Sirte Agreement, remains the viable framework for a political solution in Libya until amendments are found or replacements are found through the inclusive Libyan-led and Libyan-owned process on a political solution under the auspices of the United Nations. This is the reason why we have been calling right from the start of this crisis for a viable political solution and urging all the partners and all actors in Libya to resume talks as soon as possible, using the various tracks of the Berlin process, UN-led Berlin process, and present any proposals that would finally put an end to the long-lasting conflict in this framework. So in the framework of a political process, Berlin process, process led by the UN. And we are also at the same time calling, and we keep calling on and continue calling on all the actors who can have influence on the parties to increase their pressure, to bring them to termination of fighting and armed confrontations and engage in finding the political solution, because this is what the country needs and this is what people of this country need.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions in the area of foreign relations? I only see one hand raised. No, I see two hands raised. James, you've asked for the floor on foreign relations.
Yes, hello. Hi, Peter. It's just a quick question, really. I know that you covered this extensively yesterday, but since then the Chinese Foreign Ministry has suggested that China is the victim of disinformation about coronavirus. And we've seen multiple reports as well of Chinese ambassadors in EU countries not being shy about pushing forward that argument. So I guess my question basically, Peter, is you've had this report come out. What else can you actually do apart from publish a report to stop Chinese disinformation?
Thank you very much.
Actually have the powers.
Yes, well understood. Thank you. I would try to sum up very shortly one of the points which I tried to get across yesterday, among other things. Our ongoing efforts and activities in exposing and monitoring the disinformation are not focused only on our part, on one actor. We are doing this exercise regularly, almost every day through the dedicated website, www.eu-disinfo.eu. And apart from almost everyday examples and exposures, we are publishing regular overviews, snapshot overviews, and in them we are trying to offer as complete and as comprehensive picture as possible, saying what we have observed in a trend and actors. So it's never only one actor. I mean, this information is a field where various actors are engaged, and we are capturing and exposing those who are out there in the public domain, because we are working with the open sources. So this is more probably on the procedure. So there are many actors involved in this information, and it's not only one of them, and they are being named, I think, quite transparently in our regular findings published on this website. Now, if you are asking about what else are we doing, the EAS actually, who has the mandate to engage on the field of countering the disinformation, the mandate and the task actually says that one of the main tasks is to monitor and document and publish the cases of disinformation. And the aim here is to raise awareness. To expose someone publicly means showing we know what you are doing, we know how you are doing it. So we raise awareness both for the audiences, for the public, to be aware that this is circulating around, this is going on. Also including the methods and platforms and outlets, how it's being spread. And at the same time, we are trying also to show, like, we know what you are doing, all those of you who are engaged in spreading disinformation. So we hope that both prevention and awareness raising is a very effective method in this sense. But then, of course, there is another layer of our activities, and our findings are also exchanged and are feeding into the joint efforts of the member states and also other partners within the G7 or NATO, because, as I said on many occasions already here, when it comes to disinformation, we are facing a huge challenge, and we are facing a joint enemy. Actors in disinformation are aiming at the EU to sow confusion, to spread confusion, to undermine the trust of the public in our societies, in our political system, in our way of life. And this is something we need to expose. And as I said, by exposing, raising awareness, and making people pay attention, and being actually immune towards this. But it's a long-term effort, of course.
Thank you, Peter. Just to say, I do have another question about tourism, but I guess I'll raise my hand when the moment comes for that, just to give you a heads up.
Thank you very much, James. That's helpful to help us organize the press conference. Now, I see other hands raised, I suppose, still on foreign affairs. Athanasios, is your question on foreign affairs?
Yes, it is on foreign affairs, and it's on disinformation for Peter. Actually, a follow-up. He mentioned prevention, but the enemy's been there since 2008 for obvious reasons. We've been aware since 2016, but we talk about prevention and we don't talk about deterrence. And in the past, deterrence actually worked. I don't want to make an analogy with nuclear deterrence back in the 60s and the 70s, but it actually worked. They feared that you could retaliate and do the same, and nobody wins in the end. In this case, the one party can do whatever they want, and the European Union, the Western world, cannot do anything at all. So are we, let's say, thinking about deterrence in the future concerning this very issue, the issue of disinformation? Thanks.
Thank you. Two factual corrections. Actually, our active efforts based on the mandate and task from the EU member states are ongoing since 2015 in this organized form. So it's not only since, as you said, since a few years. And the second thing, it's not true that we are not doing anything at all, because the very existence of our dedicated units, dedicated website, and all what is in place already among the member states within the EU, but also with other partners like NATO or G7, indicates that we are actually dealing with this very seriously. Again, what you raised is also subject of ongoing discussions, because this is never complete process. This information is also evolving, so this is an ongoing process also how to counter it. One good explanation, or one good example how seriously we are taking it, apart from all the council conclusions and all the tasking that has been done already since 2015 on this, the video conference of the Ministers of Foreign Affairs at the start of April. There was agenda with 3 points only. One of them was disinformation. And their ministers expressed very clearly their concerns and their determination to continue finding the most effective ways how to counter this huge challenge for the European Union. So this is an ongoing effort, and the discussions are fed with best examples, with experiences, with practices, and with everything what we are doing and experiencing in this field, because this is a multi-layered effort that is really ongoing, basically on the go. That's the nature. So yes, we are dealing with it, and at this stage we are doing what we think is the most effective at this stage, and that's raising awareness, because as long as people will be aware that there are disinformation around and who is spreading them and how, then they will be maybe more vigilant in how they read what they see or hear or consume, and how they work with the sources and how they question critically. So this is the point of media literacy of the population. So awareness is part of the prevention.
Okay, I have other hands raised, I suppose, on external affairs. David Carretta.
Oui, bonjour, merci Eric.
Bonjour.
Deux follow-up sur cette question, si je peux. The first one, Peter, you mentioned a joint enemy. would you say that Russia and China are joint enemies for the EU, since they are quite active? And, we are talking about state actors, not just non-state actors in this field. And the second question, Peter, could you remind us how many official EU official work for the East Stratcom, and what is its budget? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. On the first one, when I said enemy, I said disinformation is our common enemy. So the common enemy for all of us in this part of the world is the disinformation and the dangerous effect it can have or it has on our societies, on our people. So that's the enemy. On the Stratcom, the numbers, I will come back to you later on so that I can offer you the updated numbers we have on this.
Can I have a brief follow-up?
Sure, go ahead.
Yes, you are saying that one of your main activity is raise awareness. But if I remember well, the website is mainly in English, and the majority of people around Europe do not understand what is written in the website. So how could you raise awareness with the just English website?
Again, maybe a factual correction. I mean, as far as I know, actually a lot of people all around Europe understand English, but I get your point, of course. And this is part of the ongoing efforts, how to make our work available to more and more people. And not so long ago, when we were discussing also this issue of disinformation, I also said that this is an effort for all of us, where every one of us has a role. The officials, the institutions, member states, the ministries, individual ministries, authorities in the countries, but also you as media, journalists, because you are multipliers. There is also a huge part to play from the civil society. In fact, we are working together also with fact-checkers, not only in European Union, to work jointly, to join our efforts, because, as I said, there is a role for everyone in this joint undertaking facing the joint challenge. So on the language issue, as I said, ongoing efforts. We are looking into possibilities how to make it more available. But I think it's being made available through this network of cooperation we have with media who are taking over, who are actually reporting based on our findings, which are published regularly, through civil society, fact checkers, etc., etc. So there is a strong multiplication effect. And just to recall also the cooperation with member states, we are exchanging with member states. So that's another channel of having the information delivered to the local audiences in a tailor-made way. So you can take us and our website as some kind of like hub or one of the main like centralized or Europeanized platforms. But then this platform is feeding into the local markets and into the local audiences in the member states and beyond to reach the audiences who might not understand English.
Okay, thank you. I see Camille. Est-ce que c'est sur les relations extérieures?
Oui, bonjour, vous m'entendez?
Oui, absolument. Vas-y, Camille.
Oui, bonjour. Je voulais revenir sur la Libye. En fait, j'avais une question sur la mission Irini. Je voulais savoir, on en était dans les efforts pour avoir des forces des États membres mises sur place et si la mission avait du coup réellement commencé ou pas en mer. Merci.
Il n'y a pas de nouvelles dans ce domaine. La conférence, le processus d'assembler les promesses et les assets, les générations de forces. Les générations de forces, des instruments pour l'opération toujours continue. C'est un processus qui continue, donc il n'y a pas de conclusion encore.
Les capacités. On pourrait dire aussi.
So even if French speakers have problems to find the equivalent.
Okay, right. I see that Maria has raised her hand. Maria, is it on external relations?
Not at all.
Sorry? No? Okay, then I will ask you to be patient. I do not see any other questions on any other hands raised on external affairs, so I'd like to come back to James, who had a question on tourism. James.
Thank you, Eric. Basically, I'd like to know if the Commission is supportive of the idea of creating tourist corridors and specifically a sort of common EU document, which has been described as a kind of COVID-19 passport. When can we expect you to come forward with some ideas? Would this be Schengen only or open to Brits? I mean, I take it by tourist corridors, we're not talking about dedicated highways between countries for inter-EU tourism, but some kind of harmonized protocols. So really, as much information on that as possible, please.
James, I mean, let me remind you that we are going to have an orientation debate tomorrow in the college, which will focus on looking at the different dimensions of the problem. And only after that orientation debate will we actually come forward with a communication that sets out a strategy. So anything that you have heard in the meantime is basically thoughts that are being put on the market by various interlocutors on what could be done. But these are not Commission proposals at this stage. So I would ask you to bear with us. We're not yet at a stage where the Commission is going to communicate on this or that solution that we're going to propose. What is true is that we have said that we will be coming forward with guidelines on how to increase connectivity in the European Union, lift border control measures, and ensure freedom of movement. But those guidelines have not yet been set out. So watch this space.
And sorry, Eric, and that's with a view to this summer, not next summer.
Sorry? Yes.
That is with a view to this summer, not next summer.
Well, I very well hope so, because I have the firm intention of going on holiday at some stage, as I'm sure you have. So yes, we're working towards this year, not next year. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay. Are there other questions on the issue, of tourism, although we will not be able to say much more than this? No, I don't see any. I think we're going to move to another subject now. Tomislav, you wanted the floor.
For this opportunity. I have a question on recent development in Croatia concerning democracy and the portfolio that the Vice President Dubravka Šuica is holding in the Commission and has the name democracy in itself. So the Commissioner called a TV show on Saturday on a local television in Dubrovnik and criticized journalists and host for allowing a viewer who called previously to criticize her. And miraculously, a TV show was taken off air yesterday. And there's been reports in Croatia that it might have something to do with Commissioner's intervention and her critique towards the show. So my question is, since she's holding a democracy portfolio as a Commission official, do you think it is okay for her to put her time and energy in criticizing journalists to the point where their TV shows are taken off the air? Thank you.
Well, Tomislav, you are connecting two facts which are not necessarily related, but what I can say is that Vice President Šuica expresses and confirms her unabated support to the independence of media, freedom of expression and information. And she wants to point out that the TV house in Dubrovnik was opened during her tenure as mayor of that city. So obviously she supports its operations, and she in no way and at no point extended any type of influence on the TV program to not be aired, as you were implying in your question. She firmly refutes this allegation. And that's all I have to say on the subject. Okay, I have now a question from Laura. Laura Kayal.
Oui, bonjour.
Bonjour.
Oui, vous m'entendez?
Oui, absolument.
Oui, vous m'entendez? Super, merci. Donc Laura Kayali, Politico. Donc j'aurais deux questions. La première, c'est sur les commentaires envoyés par la Commission européenne à l'Allemagne hier sur le State Media Treaty allemand. Parce que la semaine dernière, la Commission envisageait d'envoyer un avis motivé et n'a finalement envoyé que des commentaires. Et donc je voulais savoir si vous pouviez expliquer pourquoi il y a eu ce changement de situation. Et deuxième question, est-ce que le collège des commissaires va toujours adopter le nouveau programme de travail demain ou est-ce que ça a été reporté? Merci.
Sur ta deuxième question, je crois que j'ai énoncé clairement quels sont les points à l'ordre du jour demain et l'adoption du programme de travail modifié n'est pas à l'ordre du jour de la commission de demain. Sur la première question, je passe la parole à Johannes. Johannes, you have the floor, but we cannot hear you. Yes, we can hear you now.
Not sure whether the microphone is okay. It showed in my.
Go ahead.
Merci Eric, merci Laura. Je n'ai pas tout à fait compris la question. Tu parlais d'un changement, donc je ne sais pas de quel changement tu parlais là. Mais si tu peux me permettre, je vais donner notre réaction ou peut-être notre position, et si tu le permets, je le donnerai en anglais, comme c'est assez technique.
Oui, très bien.
The Commission fully shares the objective pursued by the draft State Media Treaty. We are committed to safeguarding and promoting media diversity and pluralism, including in the online environment. Both the E-Commerce Directive and the recently revised Audiovisual Media Services Directive reaffirm the objective of media pluralism. Following the notification from Germany in the framework of the Single Market Transparency Directive, the Commission has commented that some provisions of the draft German treaty raised some concerns in terms of compatibility with the EU legal framework, which strikes a careful balance between offering a single market for European providers and protecting media diversity. The comments do not pose a procedural obstacle to the finalization of the treaty. The Commission's comments are intended to promote reflection by the German authorities, and here this is the 16 lenders, on how to better align the draft treaty with our shared political and legal commitments, in particular in relation to both the e-commerce and audiovisual media services directive. More generally, we are concerned that increasingly diverse national rules trying to address problems of a much wider scale may not be effective in promoting European values in the online environment, including media pluralism. Therefore, the regulation of platforms needs a solution at European level. The Commission has already announced its intention to propose by the end of this year a Digital Services Act package. It will address further responsibilities of large online platforms with regard to their role as online gatekeepers, mindful of the objective to promote media diversity and pluralism in a truly functioning single market. Many German media enterprises have themselves expressed their strong interest in the pursuit of a European solution as regards gatekeeper platforms.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, I would like to come back to Maria. Sorry, David, is it on this subject? David Carreta? No? Okay, then Maria, let's come back to you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
So I'm Maria Maggiore from Investigate Europe. I wanted to ask a question about the vaccine conference next Monday. You hope collecting around 7 billion, probably more. Perhaps you can tell me more about that. I wanted to know whether is it already decided where this money will go, if it will go basically to European countries or to developing countries as the past, I think you said here in the briefing. If you can tell me more about what you intend to do with this money. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, the first thing is that we need to collect the pledges. Don't start spending the money until you have collected the money. I think that's the first rule. The second rule is that this is obviously, the second thing I would like to say is that this is in the context of a global campaign, but I will let Anna provide you with more details.
Hi, thanks so much for the question. So, as you know, the European Union is joining forces with France, Germany, United Kingdom, and also Norway and Saudi Arabia to kickstart a global pledging effort, the coronavirus global response on the 4th of May. Our objective is very clear. We need to raise necessary funding to be able to develop COVID diagnostics, treatment, and vaccines. And one of the key objectives of this whole exercise will actually be to guarantee that these new solutions are actually available worldwide for everybody, independently in the country or where the funding comes from or where it is actually being developed. That is absolutely one of the major goals of this whole exercise, basically to leave nobody behind. As regards to where the money is going to go, I think it's important to say that the European Union will only register the pledges. Not all the details are, of course, available because we're also working still with our partners on this, but our idea is basically to have the three strings of work, so diagnostics, treatment, and vaccines. Much of the funding, of course, will go to partners like Gavi, the Vaccines Alliance, and also the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovation, CEPI, because we know that they will actually guarantee that the new solutions that are actually developed, produced, and deployed will actually be available for everybody and worldwide. So yeah, we're asking also citizens, philanthropists, artists, companies, everybody to help us raise awareness on this important initiative, because we really need a coordinated global effort if we're going to try to slowly go back to normality and leave nobody behind. So that's what we can say for now. I'm happy to take any follow-up questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions on this subject? For Anna, I do not see any, so I would like to come back to the announcements, because David has made me aware that some of you may not have heard the announcement concerning the college agenda, and indeed that was also a point raised by another one of you. So let me just repeat the 3 points which will be on the agenda tomorrow. We have 3 debates tomorrow in college. The first is on the issue of tourism, the impact of the crisis on the sector. And this is an orientation debate that will then help the Commission develop its proposals and guidance in this area. Then a second debate which will be organized on the recovery plan, and of course at the heart of this, our proposal for a reinforced multi-annual financial framework. And thirdly, a discussion on the Commission's contribution to the video conference of the 6th of May, which will bring together EU leaders and leaders of the Western Balkans. So those are the 3 points which are on the agenda of the college tomorrow. All right, do we have any other issues for today? Tommaso, hello. You have the floor.
Good morning.
Good morning, or good afternoon.
Thank you. Good afternoon. It's just a question on. I've read in a Commission minutes that President Ursula von der Leyen talked with the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in order to lift the ban on the exports of paracetamol imposed by India. I was just wondering if that ban was lifted afterwards or not. Thank you.
Okay, so your question, because we could not hear you very, very well, referred to a past phone call between the President of the Commission and the Indian Prime Minister on India's restrictions on the export of paracetamol. You wanted to know whether, in the meantime, those exports had been lifted.
Exactly.
Stefan or Danielle, if he wants to compliment afterwards, but Stefan, please.
Thank you very much. No, indeed, President von der Leyen was in contact with Prime Minister Modi, and equally Commissioners Hogan and Kyriakides have been in close contacts with their counterparts on this export ban. Thanks to this ongoing dialogue, restrictions have indeed been lifted on 12 active pharmaceutical ingredients, and India also announced on the 17th of April the lifting of an export ban on paracetamol. So this is, I would say, good news.
Good. Okay, thank you very much, Tommaso. Any other questions for us today? I do not see any. I just check with my colleagues. Sorry. David.
Oui, une question sur taxation, parce que le Premier ministre italien a annoncé qu'il voulait enlever la TVA sur les masques. Je me rappelle qu'il y avait eu une décision de la Commission de faire un waiver sur les importations, mais il y avait aussi TVA, mais je crois juste pour les masques ou le matériel protectif qui était acheté par les autorités publiques pour être distribué dans les hôpitaux ou dans la population. Donc, je me demandais si on peut enlever la TVA des masques qu'on vend en pharmacie ou pas.
D'accord. On va revenir vers toi sur cette question, si tu veux bien, parce qu'on n'avait pas les détails de cette mesure que tu as, ou de cette proposition que tu as annoncée. Donc, Dan Ferry reviendra vers toi sur ce sujet. Merci, David. Est-ce qu'il y a other questions for us? D'autres questions pour nous aujourd'hui? Je n'en vois pas sur mon écran. Jonathan non plus. Très bien. Bah, écoutez, merci beaucoup. Je vous retrouverai ici avec mes collègues pour le compte-rendu du collège de demain. Hein, il y a encore une question? Non? OK. Très bien. Oui, et donc maintenant, je vous suggère de rester connectés, puisqu'après ce rendez-vous de midi, comme vous le savez, il y aura, je crois, à 13h15, c'est ça, une conférence de presse du vice-président exécutif, M. Dombrovskis. Merci beaucoup et à demain.